Time for a couple of big stories. Whitlock and Wiley, D'Angelo Hall and Sean Merriman are back. Let's move to Cleveland, where the Browns reportedly hired a new head coach today, elevating offensive coordinator Freddie Kitchens to the top job after he oversaw an excellent rookie year by Baker Mayfield. But Kitchens actually leapfrogged Greg Williams, who took over after Hugh Jackson was fired and led Cleveland to their best season in years. I guess I'm going to stay on the negative train. I don't like this hire.
You don't like this one? No, give it to me.
I don't get, why would he jump over Greg Williams? I don't get it. The Greg Williams finished 5-3. They finished 5-2 down the stretch. What more did Greg Williams need to do to get this job? Why give it to Freddie Kitchens? He seems a little green, inexperienced and green to me. I don't like the hire.
Freddie Kitchens served as the Browns' interim offensive coordinator for the final 8 games. When did Baker Mayfield play his best football? We gave a lot of credit to Greg Williams, a defensive-minded coach, a defensive coordinator. Greg Williams was just checking in on it. Hey, Freddie, what you doing with Baker? It's looking good. Talk to you later. And then left that room, went to the other side and said, help me defense, because Baker out there balling. And Baker was balling because of Freddie Kitchens. So I love this hire again. Look at my positivity starting to rule. There's also an organizational decision that sometimes you need the older, wiser individual to call timeout for you. I like Baker Mayfield. Met Baker Mayfield when he first came out. He was doing his Facebook videos and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's different. But, hey, you're the #1 overall pick. Do you. But his energy hasn't changed from college. Like the maturity, face of the franchise, quarterback energy, whatever that is, even though I love an arrogant player, it hasn't changed. And I think this is the organization saying, I love you, Greg Williams. You deserve a lot of credit for what you did, stabilizing this ship after the fire of Hugh Jackson. However, we got to bring Baker Mayfield back. And I know you know where the bodies are buried, and he has this kind of relationship with you where he feels like he can go out there and be risque. I need Freddie to get this guy back, not only to playing great football like he did, but bring the personality a notch back so we can see him mature.
See, I think Freddie would have more opportunity to do that as the offensive coordinator. As the head coach now, like we just talked about, as a head coach now, you have to basically, you're responsible for that whole team. Yeah. Every person on defense, every person on offense. You know, I'm with you, Whit. I kind of thought Greg Williams should have got this job because I thought this staff did a great job after that whole Hugh Jackson and who was it, Todd Haley? Yeah, that whole fiasco. I thought they did a great job, and I thought a lot of that had to do with the leadership from Greg Williams, and it trickled on down. I was a guy who thought, man, Freddie Kitchens, y'all giving him the offensive coordinator? Yeah, he called, they said he called plays in the 4th preseason game. And I joked like, heck, our coaches used to let us call plays if that's qualifies him to be a coordinator. But he actually did a very good job. And so you're taking a guy who already was taken out of his comfort zone as a position coach and told to be an offensive coordinator who had all that responsibility, which he did a good job. And now you're going to give that man even more responsibility and say, hey, let's make you the head coach now. I just think it doesn't give him a fair chance, I think.
I agree with this hire for one. Greg Williams is a great defensive coordinator. He doesn't have the temperament to manage a team. You have coaches that are great coordinators, and they move to head coaches, and they're not good. I mean, we love Wade Phillips, but Wade Phillips just wasn't that coach to move on and manage that many personalities. He's just not that type. For one, Greg Williams have too much of a past for them to deal with. With the whole bounty stuff and everything. That they can't. They
got over it.
Yeah, they got over it. But now you're putting a guy at head coach who had to manage the entire team. He has to go over to the wide receivers. He can't stay over on the defense side of the ball and just run those drills and correct the defense. Now you got to manage all those personalities. He didn't have the temperament. I love defensive-minded coaches as a head coach, but sometimes it just doesn't work out for the team across the board.
See, I disagree. I felt like that Cleveland team needed a guy like Greg Williams.
Because you're right.
After coming from a guy like Hugh, who was so easygoing, hey, you don't have to practice today, man. Let the guys, if they want the day off, let them have the day off. Greg Williams ain't about that life. Hey, look, if you ain't practicing, you ain't playing, period. And so they needed that toughness. That was part of the conflict, it felt like, from watching Hard Knocks. Todd Haley believed, hey, this is how we did it. This is how you win games. Heck, you got to teach these guys in Cleveland how to win because they have no clue.
Well,
let's
go with Whitlock's point.
And to his point, he should still be on the staff. That's what I'm saying. He's just not going to be.
He's not on the staff, though.
He should be.
Yeah,
one of Whitlock's evergreen points about the Cleveland Browns is, why are we talking about Baker Mayfield and his personality and not enough about him breaking Russell Wilson's rookie passing record?
Peyton Manning's
passing
TD
record. So why aren't we talking about that? Is because this thing got a little out of control. Gas meets fire, and it's a problem. Baker Mayfield and Greg Williams together forever is not the solution. So I like the Freddie Kitchens hire.
All right, to another big story. This one in Denver, where the Broncos have reportedly tapped Bears defensive coordinator Vic Fangio as their next head coach. John Elway's last hire, Vance Joseph, lasted only 2 seasons. And in an odd twist, former head coach Gary Kubiak will return as the offensive coordinator. The Broncos have been in the wilderness since Peyton Manning left after winning the Super Bowl in 2015. Look, John Elway's my favorite NFL player of all time. I'm a bit of a John Elway homer. I like this hire. I like getting I like getting a veteran, a defensive coach, and then to me, bringing Gary Kubiak back to run the offense. I think this is the perfect marriage. I think they got it right. Love this hire.
I love this hire, too. Different reasons. 7 of the 8 remaining coaches are offensive-minded, right? So let's zig when everyone else is zagging. Let's actually start thinking about how we're going to stop these offenses instead of trying to just be the copycat next one in that fold. So I respect that uniqueness. Beyond that, defense is still this team's identity, and that's where their money is as well, right? So let's double down on that defense. Get somebody who's going to run this team and run that defense. Yep. And then let's bring back someone who has Super Bowl experience with us, and now let him be the offensive coordinator and fix things on that side. So it's almost a flip model of what we're seeing from most teams, most coaching staffs, which is trying to get the head coach to look offense. They're looking defense, and then they're getting someone with experience and success to do the offense. I like it.
You know, we had a general manager with the Chargers that named A.J. Smith, right? You remember A.J. Smith?
Oh,
A.J. Smith did a hell of a job drafting guys. I believe he had one of the best eyes when it comes to seeing talent, right? I mean, he can draft the best talent, but he could not manage a team. You know, John Elway's had that reverse effect where he's just not bringing in the right people in the past, but he does really well at managing a team. I think he got it right this time. I think for the first time since he came over and as a GM that he got right, he's bringing in the right people. This is a great hire.
Yeah, and let me tell you why I also think it's a great hire and why he got it right. He got it right because Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive minds in the game today. He doesn't get a lot of credit. He's an older gentleman. He's 60 years old. And so a lot of people thought that the head coaching opportunities for him had already passed. But he's going to bring in as a head coach a guy who's not going to have an ego. He's been around this block a long time. And he's going to let Gary Kubiak. To me, this feels like a co-head coaching job for me. It feels like Gary Kubiak is going to solely have that offense. He's going to have input into who he needs on his roster offensively. And I think Vic Fangio do the same thing on defense. He'll have sole control of that defense. He won't have to necessarily worry about the offense. He'll have a guy, because Vic, even though he's been around the game a long time, it's his first time being a head football coach. He'll have a guy in his offensive coordinator, Gary Kubiak, who knows how things work. You know what I mean? Who can help him, who he can kind of, talk to about different situations that arise. But I don't think anything that'll happen through the course of this season or his tenure as a head coach, it'll be anything new, because Vic, like I said, he's been around the block so much. But to me, this definitely feels like a co-head coaching type of situation. And I love it because I don't see egos getting in the way of these two guys being successful.
I think that's needed here. For clarity, Elway has had, this is what, his 4th coaching hire, and 2 of the previous 3 were successful. I mean, you won a Super Bowl, you lost a Super Bowl, and then Vance Joseph. We're going to let that go, right? So Elway's done it right at coaching. He hasn't done it right at the quarterback position.
Well, who's picked the quarterback?
What Elway's doing here is just going with experience. They went with an inexperienced guy last time, and it blew up in their face.
Yeah.
He's had success with experienced head coaches going back to that one.
And one more thing. We got 20 seconds here. Stop being so premature. And look at here. Raiders, Rams, Chiefs in the same division with you. Offenses are coming. I mean, you got 6 games on the schedule in Penn that are like, you got to deal with even Gruden and Derek Carr. You're not going to have a great night of sleep that night. You got to deal with Gruden and all the schematics of it. And then the Rams and Chiefs, you got to go defensive.
All right, coming up, Marcellus will show us the best plays from big men across football. That dude's dudes. Nerds.